What's happening everyone, my name is Alex and welcome back. In today's video we are checking out one of the latest electric bikes from HONBIKE. The one that I have here today, it's called the HF01. This is a lightweight foldable electric bike that's mostly designed for in-town riding. So this is not exactly designed to take on long trips but around town. We have 20-inch wheels on the front and on the back. We also have a very unique design, something that you don't typically see with many bicycles these days. And this one doesn't use a chain or a belt. So this one is actually using a drive shaft. And according to the manufacturer, this is maintenance free up to 50,000 kilometers. With your typical bike, of course, you kind of have to oil that chain, clean that chain every so often. Well, this one is basically maintenance free. And with that being said, let's start with a bit of an unboxing just so I can show you what comes in the box. Alright, so this bicycle comes in a smaller than usual box. Most other e-bikes that I got to see in the past come in much bigger boxes. Now, inside the box, you're gonna find a bike that's a bit disassembled, I'm gonna say. So you do have to put a couple of things together. You have to put the seat, you have to put the rear wheel, the rear fender, and so on. So it's gonna take you about 25 to 30 minutes by the time you get this ready and on the road. The bike itself isn't overly heavy, so it weighs just over 20 kilos, and of course you can fold it. Now, the top speed for the assisted pedaling on this bicycle, it's 25 kilometers an hour. So the bike is not gonna assist you over 25 kilometers an hour. Now, of course, if you pedal faster, you can reach higher speeds than 25 kilometers an hour, but the pedal assist that we have only goes up to 25 kilometers an hour. The motor, it's located on the front wheel here. This is a bit unusual. Most other e-bikes that I got to try have the motor in the rear wheel, but this one is in the front here, and this is a 250 watt motor. And according to the manufacturer, you can get up to 40 kilometers on one charge. Now, let's talk about that range. So 40 kilometers will probably happen if you ride on a flat surface and the bike doesn't have to constantly assist you. You're not riding the bicycle at the maximum assistance level, which is level 5, but we'll talk more about that later on. And you're not riding uphill that much. So if you ride on flat surfaces, maybe you can get close to that 40 kilometers. Personally, because I am a bit heavier, I do ride a lot up hills because we have a lot of hills up here. I was able to get about 25 kilometers on one charge. This bike also has a torque sensor and a gyroscope. So as soon as you start pedaling, as soon as you push on a pedal a bit more, the bike will sense that and it will assist you right away. With a lot of other bicycles that I got to try in the past, you have to pedal to a certain speed for the bike to start assisting you. Well, that's not the case with this one. So the power delivery from this bike is better than most other electric bikes that I got to try in the past. So a very smooth power assistance, I'm gonna say. On top of that, the bike is also very quiet if you're riding on a flat surface, of course, so you don't hear anything. You don't hear the motor on the front. It's a very, very quiet bicycle. As I said earlier, the bike's design is very unique. So on the front and on the back here, we don't have the regular double forks that we usually see with most bicycles. As you can see here on the front, we have a one-sided fork, and on the back wheel is basically held in place by that drive shaft that I mentioned earlier. So a very unique looking design. On top of that, we also have a very unique looking seat. Now, I did ride on the bike for a few days, and I have to say the seat is not the most comfortable seat out there. Now, you can also move this up or down. So we have a little lock underneath the seat and you can easily move this up or down. Again, this design is more different than most other bikes in the past, because with most other bikes you kind of have to like move the seat. Well, this one is extremely easy to move up and down. Not to mention that we have numbers on the side here, so you can kind of remember what number the seat is for your height, of course. On the front and on the back, we also have disc brakes. These are mechanical disc brakes, but they're really good brakes for this particular bicycle because you're not going to be able to go that fast. So the braking power from it is really good. Now, of course, if you're going fast and you have to brake all of a sudden, you can definitely lock those wheels, but the braking power is more than appropriate from these brakes that we have on the front and on the back. On the front and on the back, we also have splash guards. The splash guards are made made out of plastic. And on the rear one we also have a light, so you can turn this on together with the headlight of the bike. This is pretty bright, so you can still see it during the day as well, and of course at night you're going to be able to see it even better. But one thing I've noticed is the fact that it doesn't act as a brake light, so whenever you are braking, that light doesn't come on. I wish it would have came on, because it would make the riding a bit safer out there. Now the brake levers, since we're talking about braking, are also very unique. The handlebar here is nice and wide, so whenever you're sitting on the bike you feel fairly comfortable. We have a little bell right here. On the right hand side we have 3 buttons. We basically have the power button and a couple of other buttons so you can switch modes and turn on and off the headlights. In the center here we have a little display. The display doesn't show that much. You'll see your speed, you're gonna see how much battery you have and the mode that you're in, but you can see the screen even in direct sunlight, so a very visible screen at all times. The headlight is also pretty bright, so you can still see it in direct sunlight, and of course at night it's super bright and it will light up the path ahead of you. Now the handlebar here can also be folded, because as I said, you can fold the bike as well. So we have the folding mechanism right here. So this goes down like this. Then you have a button on this side of the frame. So the pedals are also foldable before we do that. So you kind of push on them and you fold them. The pedals are made out of plastic. They don't feel bad by any means, but they are made out of plastic. So the pedals fold as well, and then the folding mechanism is here. So you basically have to do kind of like this. Let's see if I can do that on the camera quickly. And this kind of folds this way. We also have another part of the kickstand right here. So you have to do that, and then this kind of folds like this, and it can stay in one place. Now this is small enough that it will fit in most trunks. If you take the bike to the office, you can kind of tuck it in the corner there, so it could come in handy to fold it like this. So to put it back again, so you do this, you push this in, you push this in, you lift this up, and then it's folded. Okay, so the battery pack is located right here. This battery is removable. We do have a locking mechanism here. The bike comes with 2 keys, but you don't actually need those keys to start riding the bicycle. So you can easily remove the battery pack and you can charge it anywhere else. Or if you want, you can just charge it right here in the bicycle. The battery pack also has this little guard here. So you kind of pull on this metal part here, and then this goes down. So this will help whenever you take out the battery, so the battery just doesn't fall off. And that will also be part of the kickstand system whenever you're folding the bike. Talking about kickstands, the kickstand is located on this side here. This is made out of metal. It's a very sturdy kickstand. So whenever you have the bicycle on the kickstand, it doesn't move, it doesn't tend to fall or anything like that. So very nice kickstand. Not to mention that the kickstand doesn't really make any noise whenever you're riding. With other bicycles, it kind of like moves, shakes and so on, but that's not the case with this one. Now the riding experience. So as I said earlier, the power delivery is extremely smooth. So as soon as you start pedaling, the bike will assist you to the level that you actually need. So it doesn't give you like a big kick or anything like that. It's a very smooth power delivery. As I said, if you're riding on a flat surface, you can easily pedal, and you don't have to pedal that much. I mean, you have to get the bike to that 25 km/h speed, and then you barely pedal and the bike will kind of assist you. So you don't have to put that much effort in, but you still have to pedal. Keep in mind that we don't have any gears. So if you're riding uphill, it's not like you can downshift or upshift, so you can make that pedaling easier. So you do have a 250 watt motor, which is not that much. Whenever you're riding uphill, well, the bike doesn't have that much power. So since we don't have gears either, well, you're gonna end up to a point where you kind of have to stop and push the bicycle. That is a downside to having only a 250 watt motor, I'm gonna say. So great if you are riding on flat surfaces. If you are in town and you don't have that many hills, perfect riding experience. But if you do have a lot of hills wherever you're located, this bike does not do great on hills and you're gonna have to pedal a lot harder. So you do actually have to put in some effort whenever you're riding this bike, unlike other e-bikes that I got to try in the past that even have a throttle, so you don't have to pedal as much. So with this one you do have to put in a bit of effort. The 20-inch road tires that we have on the front and on the back here on these unibody magnesium wheels, as the manufacturer calls them, have really good grip on most roads, so I haven't had any issues whenever I'm riding. The tires don't seem to slip, and the bike is also equipped with a gyroscope, so whenever you are leaning into a curve, the bike will kind of cut down the power so that front wheel doesn't like pull you and you crash. So it is a very safe bike for most situations, most riding conditions, I'm gonna say. Okay, so let me quickly show you how this goes. So of course we have the power button right here. If you hold this pressed for about 5 seconds, the bike will turn on. And then we have the plus and the minus buttons here. If you hold this button pressed, you're gonna turn on the headlights. If you hold it pressed again, you're gonna turn them off. And from this button you can also change the modes. So we have 5 levels of pedal assistance. So we're in the first one now, second one, third one, fourth one, and fifth one. Of course the fifth one, it's called the sport mode. So this is where the bike will assist you the most. If you're using it in mode number 1, of course it will assist you the least. As I mentioned earlier, we have that torque sensor in there. So as soon as you put some pressure on the pedal, the bike will start assisting you right away. So we're gonna go for a little ride just so you can see how this goes, hear how it sounds, and so on. So as I mentioned earlier, a super quiet bike. You can barely hear that front motor. So we have a bit of an incline here, but as you can see, I'm pedaling at the same level, so I don't have to put that much effort into pedaling. We're gonna go a bit faster, so of course you have to pedal a bit faster. We have more of an incline here, but the bike is assisting us pretty well, but you do have to put in a bit of power and pedal a bit more on steeper hills, of course. So, as you've seen, we reached our top speed, about 25 kilometers an hour. And I'm gonna turn around so we can actually take this downhill backwards, so it becomes uphill. So we'll keep going up to here somewhere. I'll do a braking test right here actually. So pretty good braking there. So let me turn somewhere around here and we'll go uphill basically. So of course you have to start pedaling, but the bike will help you while you are pedaling. So you don't have to pedal as hard as you would if you wouldn't have an electric bike. So here we are gonna reach our top speed. Since we don't really have any gears available, you're gonna have to pedal like this fast if you wanna keep going at this speed. Of course, the bike is assisting you, but you still have to pedal. With other bikes that I had in the past, you have a little throttle and you can just hold that little throttle and the bike will keep going. Well, that's not the case with this one. So you always have to pedal. And we'll do another brake test somewhere around here. So we have 25 kilometers an hour and we're gonna brake here. So really good braking, as I mentioned earlier. So yeah, I think this will conclude our little riding test. So as you've seen from that little road test that I showed you earlier, if you're riding on flat surfaces, the riding experience is great. You don't have to put that much power into riding. You can keep a constant 25 kilometers an hour speed without putting that much effort. but when you come to hills, you do have to put in some power into pedaling. You do have to pedal because otherwise you're just gonna stop. So that 250 watt motor that we have on the front wheel doesn't have the power to take you up those hills, not to mention that since we don't have gears, you're kind of stuck with the same gear ratio wherever you're riding. So there you have it. This is the HONBIKE HF01. Definitely a very unique looking bike, probably one of the most unique looking bikes. Supposedly it's actually won like 3 awards in different countries or continents. So a very unique looking bike, a bike that will turn heads everywhere you go, and definitely a bike designed for in-town riding. Alright guys, hopefully this video was useful. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.